Hey, well, this is part number 3 of the interview that Dave J. has with Jim Fetzer. Jim was a university professor who is retired and who has spoken out on some important things and sort of popped the bubble on some things. But as we have seen in part 1 and part 2, Jim is just not really willing to let go and realize the hoax-lie system is massive and beyond his comprehension. So Dave is trying, Jim is trying to be patient, and it gets a little bit tense, but that's okay, because when a person has cognitive dissonance, this is really and truly what happens. And then eventually they can get very angry. Now Jim tries not to, but you can see at the end he gets a little bit perturbed.
Great ones. Robert E. Lee was a great general who happened to be fighting for the Confederacy. George Patterson.
That's all just words on paper. That's all words on paper.
The Allies.
That's all words on paper.
Okay, just an interjection. Lee is Grant and Grant is Lee. The general principle is of the generals. The North is the South and the South is the North. Now, back to my original channel, War Backwards is Raw. One of the earliest videos I did, I think it was like the second or third one, is called I Fought Myself in a Civil Raw, R-A-W, battle. And I will show you the commanders of the North, just dressed up in a different uniform, put on a little bit of disguise, and they were the commanders of the South in the same battle. In other words, they're Masonic plays. Now, it's hard to comprehend this, but it is true. Jefferson Davis was Abraham Lincoln. Abraham Lincoln was Jefferson Davis, the one individual. I also have a video about what I call the split persona. These are all early videos on my channel, War Backwards is Raw. But for me, the key was I understood war is a hoax. And that brought me out of it. Now, Jim can't seem to do that. The war seems to be too precious to him, that these battles were fought and men died and they protected our liberty and all that there stuff. And it's a pretty good line, but it's BS.
All words on paper. It's all words on paper. It's not true witness. No, James, I think we have to agree on something. I think we need to agree at some point that true witness is what you see with your eyes, not words that you have seen. I want to talk about true witness. Can we talk about true witness?
Even what you see with your eyes, as you were explaining about that broadcast regarding the Iraqi war, isn't to be believed.
But I saw the truth of it. What most people saw was the lie. They saw what they wanted to believe. So yes, if you look and you see the truth and you're not deceived, your eyes are yours to use. It's a sense. But if you have given yourself over wholly to the lie, and what you just told me is that you gave yourself wholly over to the stories that you have consumed. You consume stories.
Don't be insulting. I have studied military history. I've served.
Yeah, you studied it, but you didn't experience it for real. That's why
I wasn't studied. But I have.
Yeah, but had you experienced it for real, you would have said, "Dude,
but I have plenty of friends who were, Dave. I mean, you're
no. Don't tell them about your friends. Get them in here and let them witness. Let them witness to their death themselves. I'm telling you this. I'll tell you twice now. Do not false witness to death.
You're coming across as detached from reality.
No, I'm not actually. I think you are. Because you don't want to talk about real things. I'm trying to ask you to talk about true eyewitness, and you want to keep talking about what you say your friends saw, or the books you read.
I've done scientific studies on eyewitness.
No, what have you walked outside and looked at physically? I know that you do the JFK thing a lot, right? What if I told you?
And Sandy Hook.
Okay, let's just stick to one thing. Let's stick to one thing. The JFK. Now, the JFK assassination was, in fact, a hoax. Nobody died and nobody got hurt that day. Okay, let me tell you, what you see in that car. Listen, James,
look.
what you see in that car is a pumpkin head. It's a dummy that heads explode. It's not a real person. If you claim that anybody died.
Okay, I'd like to interject that if you take the Zapruder film and you watch Jackie will reach over behind the dummy, the pumpkin head, and she will pull something or push something. And then after she does that, the dummy will lunge and explode. Now, it's an automated Hollywood prop that was designed to look like the blast of a gun upon a human body. But the truth of the matter is, Dave uses the phrase pumpkin head. It was a sophisticated, perfectly designed likeness of JFK that was an actual dummy. And Jacqueline Kennedy, parentheses, Marilyn Monroe, pulls a string or pushes a button to activate the dummy. And there's a lot of Dave also has a wonderful video where he'll show you how that it was filmed several times and spliced to get it right, and the whole thing was one big hoax. Now, my personal thoughts on that, and I do have a video somewhere on my channels, I believe in War Backwards is Raw or Plato's Cave Revisited. I think it was done to get the mindset off of the silver. 1964 is the last year you will see silver coins in America. Intrinsic value gone. Why? We're too busy mourning JFK to realize we don't have silver anymore. That's my thoughts. Anyhow, back to the interview. Of course, Jim now is sort of busted at the seams and really itchy because he just thinks Dave has gone a little too far. Not really. Jim just not able to let go.
He got hurt that day. You are, in fact, a liar and a spiritual murderer. That's a fact.
David, it's been great having you here. I have some problems with.
No, you don't. You just want to spiritual murder people with your lies instead of talking the truth of Christ. That's the problem here, right?
I'm really sorry.
So we can talk about, let's say, the plane of Earth you live on. It's a level plane with deviations called depth and elevation, for example. That's where you live. The universe you live in is the shape of the human eye. You live on the flat part. The stars, the sun, the moon, they are just lights in the sky. They're just lights in the sky. There's no space to travel to. They're just lights in the sky. They're to tell you the times and the seasons. The sun gives you the time of day, the moon gives you the time of month, and the stars give you the time of year. That's what they're used for. If anybody tells you they go off into space in a spaceship, they're lying to you, because space travel does not exist. It has never existed.
Dave, do you agree that the hours of the day are defined by the rotation of the Earth on its axis?
No, I don't. I don't.
Or that month by the transit of around Earth?
I'll explain it to you quite simply.
Or the year by the transit of the orbit of Earth around the sun?
No, that's not true. Take a clock right off the wall. Lay it on your desk.
Okay, let me make an interjection here. I mean, I just can't resist because I have a lot of information to share, and in a sense to give amen to Dave, but in another sense to give compassion to Jim, because I was Jim, all right? Now, I was on an international flight, and we were approaching the sun way up in the sky. I couldn't tell you exactly where I was in terms of location if I looked down on Earth, because I was on an international flight, and we were excited to see the sun. And was it a sunset or a sunrise? And it appeared to be a sunrise, and the jet was proceeding directly toward it. And we could not catch it because it was moving. Now, I've got a personal testimony. I literally saw it with my eyes. The Earth is stationary. We are geocentric, not heliocentric. All right? The sun and the moon and the stars evolve in circular fashion around the flat plane of the Earth. You've been lied to. You've been lied to from day one. And 99 out of 100 people that lied to you didn't know they were lying to you. So I'm telling you, and I'm testifying, it is true. The Earth is stationary. It doesn't revolve around the sun. Now, by now, poor Jim, he's just about had it.
If you notice the minute hand and the hour hand, how they rotate in a full circle around that piece, change that for the sun and the moon. All right? One rotates the full day around, one rotates the full month around. It's the same thing. Same exact thing. Anything mathematically can be explained to you in a what's called a sphere or even a circle on a piece of paper. Both can use the same formulas and numbers to kind of trick you, meaning that I can prove something on a sphere the same way I can prove it on a flat piece of paper. It's just numbers. It's not truth. It's not your eyeballs. In Central California, I made what's called a land telescope across the Interstate 5. You'll know there's like little ramps that go up and over the road. For overpasses they call it.
I was born in Pasadena, grew up in Southern California.
Yeah. So go up I-5. You know in the Central Valley how there's little overpasses just for the little country roads to go over? Anyways, they're slightly curved like this. Okay? So what you do is you go up the road about a half a mile until where you're at is even with the top of that hump. As you look over beyond that, so you're a half a mile back here. If you look over that, there's going to be a mirage that's formed here. That's basically the reflecting lens of what would you call a telescope. It creates the same effect. Now, as you zoom in on your camera, everything in the distance that's above that level, let's say you're at 30 feet, for example, everything above that will pop up into view. It will almost like a pop-up book. And then you'll say, wow, I can see all this stuff. You snap a picture, you take a still of that, you lay it out on Google Earth, and you say, okay, this signpost is 15 miles away. You can see it plain as day. You see another, like a water tower, you see that it's 25 miles away. You see another thing that's 30-some miles away, all the way out to the foothills and to the mountain. So you're actually seeing what I call a stacking effect, because everything. Yeah, go ahead.
So, Dave, you're telling me you also believe in flat Earth?
Well, no. Here's by my eyewitness. This is what I know by my eyewitness and my test, which I was just explaining to you. The place that we live is a plane that has deviations called depth and elevation. That's period. That's my definition. That's through physical observation and tests, which I've put up online for people to study. And here's the thing about studying is when I present something to you, I allow you to actually take it, study it, download it, and to prove it. Or, guess what? Disprove it by test. So that is the true definition.
Dave, listen,
Yeah. Go ahead.
Okay, that is true science, what Dave is saying. You test it and retest it. And then that is your science. Okay? Now we have pseudoscience, false science that's taught and presented in textbooks. And if you test some of the things they say in the textbooks, you'll find out it really isn't true. So I'm going to stop it right here, and I'll do one more and try to conclude this interview. Thank you for watching.